Oh, yeah, baby. A little Prince to start things off. Musicology right here on the Radio Rumble, the voice of Nassau Community College. 90-point tree, WHP Tree. My name is Tree. And I actually have a guest here with me on this lovely Saturday afternoon. My good pal, Crazy George. George, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the show. Crazy George making his first ever appearance on the Radio Rumble.
But you're like a super fan. You're one of those guys that like listens consistently.
Pretty much every time I'm able to listen, I do.
Yeah.
I've been kind of busy the last few months on Saturdays.
Unacceptable.
Very unacceptable. But yeah, I listen every time I can. I live in Queens, so I'm usually streaming on iHeartRadio.
Oh, look at you. A little plug right there. You can also listen on the TuneIn app. So I've known George and his family for decades now at this point. I was in the same grade as George's brother. And, once high school sort of ends, it's not as like taboo to hang out with the younger sibling. I think, when you're in that high school phase, I don't want to hang out with the younger kids. But once you hit like that 21, 22 age, it all sort of blends together. And we have like a good group of friends that are all brothers. Like, you have Tyler and Connor brothers, you and Matt, and then your other brother Thomas, who is not as cool, but he's all right. But yeah, it's a nice, good core group of friends. And we actually work together at a movie theater. How long were you there, actually, for? A year or so?
Well, so I had like a gap where I didn't work there. I went away to college, my freshman year of college. But like in total, probably like a year or so, maybe 2 years, yeah. That was an interesting experience working at the movie theater. If you've never done that, I think we used to say everyone in their life should have to work at that.
Yeah.
Like an entry-level movie theater job for like 6 months in their life just to understand how terrible people are to each other.
Yeah, so this is a good thing to break down because, first of all, let's start off with the customers. And if I burp from time to time, I'm drinking some Diet Coke, so it's going to happen. I was inspired by Mike Francesa. He drinks the Diet Coke, and now...
no caffeine Diet Coke.
Yeah. I thought I was getting regular Coke, but it turns out it was Diet Coke. And speaking of that, we actually will talk about Cocaine Bear later on in the program. But back to the movie theater. So let's start with the customers. And there would be a lot of weirdos that would come into the movie theater. We'll leave it at that.
Bag Lady.
Bag Lady is one that I've talked about a few times throughout my time on the radio. The Bag Lady was just this crazy woman who carried hundreds of plastic bags and would walk around Rockville Center and then go and see a movie. My Bag Lady experience was that of a really awkward, just actually almost broke out into a fist fight.
You talked to her?
I talked to her because
I never talked to her once.
Remember Kyle, who used to work there? Kyle?
Yeah, he was a supervisor, right?
He's one of my favorite
Rangers
people.
fan.
Yeah. Good
he's
dude.
The man. Yeah.
So me and Kyle are cleaning a theater, and it was... Mr. Bean had a movie. What's his name? Rowan Atkinson. Johnny English was like a spy movie. And it was the sequel. I think it was called Johnny English 2. So she's watching the credits because the credits roll and everyone exits the theater and we're cleaning the theater because we got to get the theater cleaned for the next showing of Johnny English.
Looking for dollar bills on the ground.
Oh, yeah. And also looking for food sometimes. So maybe that's just me. So we're cleaning the theater, and I find a giant water bottle that we sell there not opened.
Right.
And I say, who does this? Meaning, who would buy a bottle of water from us for $8 and not even open it? Because I broke, like, the seal to it.
Right. You hear the crack. You go, oh, I can drink this.
So I say, who does this out loud?
Yeah.
And think nothing of it. Bag Lady's in the back watching the credits. Me and Kyle exit the theater, and she goes, a lot of people do this, actually. And we're like, what are you saying? And then she goes, a lot of people watch the credits. And we're like, what does she mean by that? Because I had no idea. I didn't put anything together. Turns out she thought we were talking about her, saying, who stays here to watch the end credits?
Right.
Nothing to do about the water bottle. She goes to our manager and complains to us.
Oh, my God.
And we're
I never heard this.
Yeah.
For the radio.
So I don't know, I think our manager realized Bag Lady was mentally unstable as well, so we didn't get in trouble or anything, but we were just confused. It wasn't until a week later I was like, I think she was thinking we were saying.
Yeah, because who's that rude that they would just say that as someone's like 20 feet away from them?
Exactly.
You're a good guy. You wouldn't do that.
No.
People are rude, but that's just like next level.
Especially
like,
when you're working there. Like, I'm wearing the
Right.
uniform of that. Like, I don't want her to hear me badmouth our customer who's always there.
Right.
So that's my bag lady story.
I used to deliver pizza to Bag Lady.
Oh, she has a house.
She get ready for this.
Yeah.
And Bag Lady, I hope you're not listening. I'm sorry to
She's
reveal
probably
this.
dead at this point.
So I know her name, first of all.
Yeah.
Do you want to know her name?
Don't
or
say it
know
on the
her as
air.
Bag
What's
Lady?
No, I actually don't even want to know her name.
Let's not say her name. So
Don't even tell me off the air. She's just bag lady. I don't want to know
Good.
anymore.
So she caused. You know how she would cause trouble by staying late at the theater?
Yeah.
She did that at the pizza place I used to work
Uh-huh.
at by ordering food right like 2 minutes before the kitchen closes.
Yeah.
Like she was that person, and she would have demands like. It needs to be double bagged. The soup needs to be
That's why
divided
she's
into
getting
3
the
different
bags.
containers. And when you would deliver it to her,
Yeah.
she lived at a motel. And
Really?
would open the door a sliver like an inch wide.
Wow.
And she is a hoarder. Hence the bags. So having worked at the pizza place,
Yeah.
the story came full circle. She would walk into the movie theater and God knows what. She would stay in the bathroom till 2 a.m. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
If you were ever on the closing shift, you'd have to make sure that bathrooms are empty.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the managers would be like, well, Bag Lady's here, so you just go home and I'll take care of it.
Did you do the pizza after the movie theater?
Yes, it never worked at the same time. The pizza delivery job was way better in terms of pay than the movie theater. So
you found out about the bag ladies living
it came full circle.
after a movie theater.
I couldn't believe it. Everyone, when you were getting the order, this lady ordered. It's
Yeah.
going to be terrible. Sorry, you got to take it. And then
I'm
when
assuming she didn't tip well.
No, she tipped great.
Oh, wow.
She tipped great, and they think that she actually is potentially very wealthy. 'Cause
Yeah,
she
yeah,
does
yeah.
live in a motel, which can add up.
Yeah.
And is a hoarder, so...
She probably
Buying
had some
stuff.
treasures there.
Dude, it was like, I would always try to look in.
Yeah.
But it was just like, if you ever did get a peek, you would just see like boxes stacked
Wow.
to the ceiling. It was bad.
Yeah.
I think she like had a husband who passed away or something, and she ended up being left with a lot of money, but that was Bag Lady. And when I
Yeah.
first delivered to her, I was like, they know her as this person, but in the movie theater world, we know her as Bag Lady.
She always reminded me, and I think this could be another reason why I'm not a big fan of Home Alone 2 compared to the first one. She reminds me of Pigeon Lady.
Yeah.
She has like the same look.
Yes, exactly. That's a great
Right?
description for the listeners.
Yeah.
She's just like
Pigeon
that.
Lady from Home Alone 2.
But
which
not
is
nice.
No. She would not give Kevin like a piece of a dove like at the end of Home Alone 2. She would hoard that, and I don't
Yeah.
know what she does with the bags. I don't want to know. So you mentioned about people staying late.
Yeah.
I remember this only happened one time, and I was so insane after this because I was worried it was going to happen again. So at the movie theater, you have the late night show.
Yeah.
And really only 2 people would need to stay after that. Because
Wasn't it manager and one of us
yes.
entry level employees?
Yeah, and then everyone else would go home.
Yeah.
Because you can't really serve food after because the kitchen or the concession stand closes.
Yeah, like 15 minutes after the last movie goes in or something
which
like
is
that.
always bad when we say you get free refills on the large and we already cleaned up the popper. It's like, how do we make more popcorn, or how do we get more soda when we took everything down?
Yep.
That was always a bitch to like deal with. But I remember not checking a theater once at the end of the night. And somebody apparently was in there sleeping.
Sleeping?
And we had the janitors, like the cleaning people that would
Yeah.
come after and clean up the whole place.
Yep.
And they found this person sleeping, and they had to kick them out
At like 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
probably.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I've seen some weird, strange things. I remember we had a Dave Matthews Band concert there.
Oh, like one of those live streams.
Yeah, and you could smell the pot from like across
Oh
the
my
whole
God.
theater.
Oh, I wish I was there for that. That sounds awesome. Are you kidding me?
There's just so many bizarre things, fights, and you're in the heart of Rockville Center, so there's a lot of bars there.
Everyone's complaining about the parking as if you like own the parking lots.
I mean, the parking is horrendous.
terrible in Rockville Center. Terrible.
It's so bad. And then if you actually found a spot, sometimes you have to go out and pay the toll every couple hours. So
Yeah,
the people that
people
were
couldn't see their
working there.
movie.
Yeah. And the people that were working there, I remember they'd be like, can you take care of everything? I got to pay the toll. Like I would get dropped off from work I didn't drive at the time, and
Yeah.
there's just a lot of issues I had with that theater in general. I haven't been to it actually in years.
Well, you're a big moviegoer,
Yeah.
and I don't go as often as you do just because of the way the world is now. And because I guess for me, just I have to take the subway to get to a theater, and I don't feel like spending my time doing that.
Yeah.
It's easier on Long Island when you can drive in your own comfortable car and this and that. But I remember they renovated that theater, and the new seats were so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing? You just spent all this money, and it's not comfortable to sit here. What is it? What are you doing?
I think for a while, the standard seat was S. Like you had like the really bad movie theater seats that would have. I remember a lot of them actually had it's sort of like at baseball stadiums where the back of the seat would have the cup holder
Yeah,
because
yes.
you couldn't lean back on a lot of theaters.
Yeah,
Then
and you'd knee into it when you're leaving the aisle.
yeah,
and-
but then eventually, you started to be able to at least lean back a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the Raceway Theater that's like 5 minutes from here. It was like the first.
That's the Regal one?
No. It's AMC Raceway.
Oh, I know what you're talking
It's near the Target.
Yeah.
And that was like the first movie theater to really have seats where there was some sort of give to, you could rock a little bit.
Which you need if it's 2 hours plus.
Yeah.
You got to move your back.
Of course. And then there was now, like, in the last 10 years, the seats have changed completely. Because I've gone to movies with people, like, I haven't been to the movies in 6 years. I'm like, okay, now there are recliners. There's, like,
Yeah.
big leather recliners. You click a button and, like, a slowly electric, like, raise of the chair and incline to it. It's like night and day from what it was when we were a kid. But that theater that we worked at, it was like made in between when that was the norm.
Yeah.
So it has this like weird hodgepodge of both, like the recliner, because it doesn't have the electric recliner.
No, and it does rock.
But it
You're right.
rocks. But it has like the leather. It's like a year out. If they waited like a year, then
Yeah.
it would have been the norm to actually have that button that like the AMCs all around here have and the Regals all have around here. So
The one that you go to,
the Regal Westbury Stadium.
that was the first one where I discovered the button.
Yeah. You can't go
Amazing.
back. You can't go back from the button to a standard seat. It's night
Yeah.
and day. What sucks is, though, for a lot of people, I think it's actually a good thing, is the assigned seating. I don't know where you stand on that. I think,
Well, the new thing I don't like, where it's like a baseball stadium where
yeah.
in the middle is more money.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it officially on the radio. I'm paying for the cheaper seat and going to sit in the middle, and then if someone kicks me out,
You move.
so be it.
Yeah.
That's literally what I do at Citi Field. I
Yeah.
pay for the cheap seat, and I go walk down, and if the usher's nice, they let me sit on like the 100s.
So that is only for AMC. Regal has not
okay.
implemented that rule yet. I don't
think
know
it's
if it's
a
going to take
terrible
off.
move.
I mean, so many people already are not going to the movie theater, and then you're going to introduce even more confusion and more BS for that.
Yeah.
And another thing that I do miss prior to the assigned seats, because I don't hate the assigned seats. I think it's a cool feature. I
don't mind it.
You could show up a little late. You don't have to stay there for the previews. But I miss. And I miss it, and I also don't miss it.
Yeah.
I miss, and sometimes is the line. Now
Like
that
the
might sound
concession
insane,
line or for the tickets?
For the
Like-
tickets,
like buying the ticket.
It might sound insane. Like, who wants to actually wait on a line?
But it's the aura, the atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for when it was like a big show, when it was a Star Wars movie or
Yeah.
a new superhero movie. I remember waiting online, and it was like a community. People, like, I was always first online. I'd get there hours before the showtime and just wait there, and then you'd see people dressing up in like Star Wars
Oh,
outfits, and
yeah.
you'd have conversations
Potter.
exactly for the big Harry Potter movies.
Yep.
I mean, we worked a few of those, and we
Oh, yeah.
remember the atmosphere, and it was like more of a concert setting. And nowadays, you could just walk in willy-nilly at any time. You don't have to wait for the best seats. You buy the seats, so
And you don't
are
even
missing something.
print your ticket anymore. You
No.
used to like pay for it on your phone and go to a kiosk and print it. Now you just show a QR code on your phone.
Yeah.
To the ticket person, and then they go, okay, go in.
Yeah, I mean, what I do is I print it out still. You can go to
can
the
do that?
little Fandango machine because I collect, I have all my ticket stubs. I don't know why. I mean, I have a little bit of bag lady in me as well with the hoarding. Like, there's no need to be like, oh, I saw Jumanji 2, 6 years ago.
We all have a little bit of bag lady in us.
Yes.
I think. Everyone hoards memories, stuff. Everyone's got a little bit of a hoarder in them. And if you're not saving stuff, you're not living life.
Yeah. Well, it becomes an issue for some people.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as somebody that is able to be organized with my hoard because you've seen my collection. It's presented well. It's not just like here's a bunch of crap.
It's not chaos.
Yeah.
It's actually very nicely presented.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I wouldn't say like a museum, but it's certainly a very cool trip down memory lane when you're looking at the old consoles, toys that some of them I never had, but like Stretch Armstrong. I never had a Stretch Armstrong, but you had one, and it just brought back so many memories. Like, the greatest thing about taking a trip down memory lane like that is getting the feeling again that you haven't had since you were a kid, and it's not the same, but you look at some of those things you have, and it's like, yeah, are you collecting a ton of stuff? My lord, yes.
Yeah.
But it's all cool vintage, or not vintage.
A lot of it.
Retro.
I guess you could say it's vintage at this point. But
So cool, though. The VHS tapes, that really takes me back to the time when, talking about movie theaters and waiting in line, it was a different world, and I miss that like crazy.
Yeah, and you can never go back to that, but like looking at something could just trigger a memory for like a brief moment. That's why I love collecting and doing that nostalgia stuff.